Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tech Files Dose of Common Sense. If common sense is supposed to be so common, how come it seems like no damn body has it? And welcome to the Dose of Common Sense. How y'all doing today? We don't have that much on the docket for tonight, but I figured we might as well get rolling with the one that kind of really matters, but not so much, considering we haven't heard from him yet. The Essential Phone. Unfortunately, this particular story, I don't have a link in the doc for it. However, the Essential Phone is preparing for imminent launch. The reason we know this is through secondary sources over in the UK, because they are actually still conducting negotiations with United Kingdom companies such as 3 and EE over there, and we expect that launch to be imminent. It has gone through final FCC approval. So in the United States, it will be launched with Sprint. And in the UK, it will be at least launched with 3, possibly as many as 2 other companies. That one, unfortunately, could not get the link to as of press time. So what I would do if you were interested in finding out about the Essential Phone is I would pretty much check with 9to5 Google or with Pocket Now. Jules Swain usually has excellent coverage on that. So, the next up would be the other story that nobody could give 2 rats about. Actually, they kind of should. Qualcomm CEO has now publicly stated that he expects an out-of-court settlement with Apple, even though he's pretty much said, hey, unless you settle with me, I don't want you launching your phones in the United States or selling them in the United States. Qualcomm, Apple, I don't know if you possibly realize this. Apple could probably buy you for pocket change at this point. So I'm thinking it might be a good idea to settle everything out with Apple now, while you kind of sort of still can. Let's see. Steve Mollenkopf says that there is no new developments in the case as of right now, but he notes, quote, there's no reason why the issue won't be settled out of court, unquote. Nevertheless, Mollenkopf goes on to say that he doesn't have anything to announce. Attitude has taken a sharp turn as Qualcomm continually escalated its battle with Apple. Let's see, what else do we have here? Qualcomm officially, as you know, filed a patent infringement lawsuit against Apple last week, claiming 6 violations of their patents, and Apple withheld $1 billion in payment. Basically, they withheld their own lunch money for a day. So, at that point, it also says Qualcomm is double dipping. This is what Apple has alleged. Qualcomm is double dipping by charging once for a license fee for use of its patented technology, and then again for the chip which uses the technology. Basically, guys, what they're saying is it's the same thing as Microsoft normally charges for licensing fees for Windows. You are charged a licensing fee or not. I don't know what their current situation is, but it used to be that you would pay the licensing fee for the use of Windows being put into your computers. Just like Android charges a licensing fee, and also has the OEM that uses its software follow a specific code, if you will. The phone must have this. It cannot have this. Its scan cannot be too heavy, and it must carry all aspects of Google Play services, all APIs, all lock screen codes, everything, including its security updates. Excuse me. Tim Cook said he is open to settling the suit with Qualcomm, but noted it's unlikely that a lengthy battle will occur. Excuse me, misquoted. I'm sorry. This is what happens when one reads a website that happens to love to put, and you can judge this one for yourself, folks. I just got hit with an ad. So basically, it's saying that Tim Cook is open to settling the suit. He is unlikely to want to settle out of court. So, guys, this might be ramping up to be, I don't know, Samsung Apple 2 or 4 as of right now. Only this time, instead of Samsung, imagine, if you will, Qualcomm. Once again, Qualcomm, Apple could literally buy you for lunch. Leave it be. Let it go. It's not worth costing yourselves that much money. Back up. There you go. So, having covered that particular part, on MetroPCS, which I used to be part of, hope to maybe still be again, I don't know. MetroPCS is going to be getting a phone that it has not seen any of its OEMs or any of the OEMs phones probably, I'm going to say, since early 2012, maybe. And that would be the Motorola, that would be the Moto E4. Okay. The Moto E4, for those that don't know, the Moto E4 is a $39 phone, okay, through MetroPCS. Under normal deals, that's how it would go through. So basically, it's like this. You go in there, you request a phone. It's the Moto E4. It's $39 for the phone. And then it would be whatever service plan you decided to go with, whether it would be the 30, the 40, the 50, or the 60. Their plans don't go any higher than 60, folks. Also, for the fact that their protection plans on the phones only run $6 a month. It's actually a pretty good deal. However, if you're porting your number over to MetroPCS right now, that particular phone is free. Yeah, it's a free phone. Looking at the specs on this phone, it is not that bad, guys. If you were in the market to go for a very good MVNO that belonged to T-Mobile and had the T-Mobile coverage, and you do not want to pay the upwards of $850 to $1,000, depending on what you get through T-Mobile, MetroPCS would be something I would seriously consider. That being said, the link to the story will be in the description of the show. If you're interested in the phone, instead of the article, check out MetroPCS.com. They will have all the information to the phone available on their website. And at this particular point, if you're interested in the phone and you're porting your number over, I would definitely recommend going into one of their stores as soon as possible. However, and this is just, I'm going to give this a little warning here. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know what porting is, believe it or not, there's some people that don't. Porting a number is when you take your number, which is completely legal. It's Communications Act, I believe. I almost want to say it's the Communications Act of either 1996 or 2004, one of the two. It enables you to more or less take your phone number to any company that you wish to take that to. Okay. However, there are certain conditions for that number in order to be able to be ported to another company. You must have the account number, you must have the phone numbers in question, and you must have the numerical PIN numbers that are required to access the account. The reason they need the numericals and they can't have the backup passwords is because in any of their systems that handles the porting part of the service, it will not accept letters because that is a backup. They have to have the primary passcode to get into the account. Okay? Also, if you call any other company and you try to get an account number and it's any more than 11 digits, stop them. If you're porting from Sprint or you're porting from Verizon or you're porting from basically any other company on the planet Earth, or at least in the United States, basically that is a 9-digit number. Straight and simple. It's a 9-digit number that you're looking for as the account number. And you must have the correct PIN code. For some companies, it's 4 numbers. That's it. And that'll be from companies like Cricket, which we'll cover here in a minute. It's also from companies such as Verizon used to do 4. I think they now do 8. Cricket's is 4. Boost is 6 to 10. Sprint is 6 to 10. And let's see. Yeah, and T-Mobile's is 6 to 10 as well. So if you try to give them a password, it won't work. If you get an account number that does not match 9 to 11 digits, it also will not work. So basically what you need to do more or less at that particular point is just quite simply say, I want the correct number. Now, they used to have the fastest way of doing it would be to call them by phone to get it. However, they pretty much know that when you're calling them by phone and you're asking them for account information, they know what you're doing. I mean, you can tell them that we used to have to tell our customers all the time, and sometimes we used to have to handle this ourselves, that we would be requesting a port for a customer. Now, there are some companies that will do that, and there are some companies that won't. They actually prefer that the customer call and make that decision on their own. And if they ask for the customer for the reason, normally most of the reasons would simply go like this. We need it for work so we can, get reimbursed for the bill. We need it for this so we can get reimbursed. Something along reimbursement usually gives you the least amount of resistance. If you tell them flat out that you want your account number and you want your PIN number, which kind of you should already have access to. If you want that on the day that you're planning to roll and your bill is literally coming up that day, you better have all your stuff in one sock, because if you don't and the ports don't come through, they'll kill the number instantly. And if they kill the number, you can't port it. So just a heads up, and I'm sure all my cell phone salespeople will give a big thank you, I hope. And if not, I understand, believe me. Have all the information ready before you walk in the store. It saves you time, it saves them time. If you have all your information when you walk into a place like Metro or T-Mobile, they can do your port in less than 10 minutes. It's that simple, folks. Depending on what company you're doing it to, though, it could be a little bit longer. And there are actually some companies that they cannot port from. There's a company, if you have an Alaska phone number, you're not going to be able to port your number, period. For some reason, there are certain carriers out there that they cannot port because basically it's a landline-based company. So there is that. So, if you're interested in learning more about porting, my advice to you would be to talk to your local sales rep, talk to someone that you know and trust, or just simply Google it. And there's many, many, many different references as to porting a number and what that would require. It is federal law. They are supposed to port it upon request. And if you have all the information you need, they're supposed to port that number within 24 hours. Unless it's a landline number, then it could take 7 to 10 days. Sorry about that little porting lesson, folks, but I am trying to make sense Out of the confusing world of mobile technology, this is just one of those tips to help you. And I hope it does. And speaking of hoping for help, so we were talking about Cricket earlier. Now, MetroPCS, if you port your number over them, you get the Moto E4 for free. Cricket has decided to do something different. And I don't know why, to be perfectly honest with you. Cricket has decided to request an exclusive from HTC as it's their right to do so. I mean, they do this every once in a while. The Desire 530 was a Cricket. The 510 was a Cricket. Metro's has usually been the Desire 626. Okay. Just to give you a little bit of a brief on that. And if you're wondering about the M1 or the M7 or the M8 or the M9, any one of the flagships, usually none of the MVNOs see that, unless of course it's unlocked or used. Most companies have a bring your own device policy, so if you have any questions on that, check the websites. If you have any other questions at me, shoot me an email on it. My email is show@techfilesmedia.com. You can reach me by email. You can also reach me at TechFiles on Instagram or on Twitter. You can reach the higher part of it through @TechFilesMedia on Twitter, on Instagram, and we'll be more than happy to respond to you. So if you, for example, have a question about your phone service, if you want an opinion about a phone service, feel free. I have all the resources at my disposal. I have working relationships with at least a couple of companies. I have many, many people that I have known in the cell phone industry for years. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free. By the way, since we are talking about social media right now, I have left a Twitter poll up. What is your smartphone? No, not unless, of course, you're wanting that about the size of a tablet. What is your smartwatch platform of choice? Here's the reason I'm asking. There's a lot of people that I know that switched recently from either iPhone to Android or vice versa. I do not switch platforms. I actually have both platforms. However, I carry the Gear S3. I know many people, when they did the jump to iOS, decided they were going to do the full jump. They decided to get the Apple Watch. And I'm hearing a lot of praise over the Apple Watch, over the Apple Watch 2. I was kind of worried about it going either in the direction of Fitbit or in the direction of Pebble. Fitbit really don't have a direction right now. However, I had a Pebble at one time. I had issues with that. Switched over to Android Wear. I have issues with that. Here's where I'm coming from on this, folks. I have a Samsung Galaxy S3 Frontier. Okay? This is supposed to have the LTE chip inside. It's supposed to forward the calls when I'm not at the phone. It has the ability to connect over Wi-Fi. It has the ability to connect over Bluetooth. It also has the ability to run on its own. Here's my issue with it. I can't get calls to forward. I can't get proper notifications. I can't respond to said notifications. I'm having a very hard time getting any notifications at all. On top of the fact, the other problem I'm having with Samsung is Samsung has told me that I had won a Gear VR, and then Samsung told me that I was available to get another Gear VR because I purchased a Galaxy S8 Plus on pre-order. So before we did it, we entered an address correction and everything else because I moved to where I can actually do stuff like, podcasting. And they still haven't sent me any of the equipment yet. And it's actually been about 2.5 months. Wow, wait a minute. May, June, July. Yeah, we're looking at 3 months now. And it's supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. Apple. It's looking better every day there, Apple. I don't seem to have an issue with that. Anyway, if anybody has any answers upon which smartwatch they use, which one they prefer, if you have one that you're thinking about, I had an email the other day and said, Ed, I'm really interested in getting the smartwatch for the first time. Okay. Which smartwatch would you be wanting? They brought up the Pebble Time Round. Yeah, you can use it. You're not going to get support for it. In other words, unless, of course, you go through XDA. So whatever that you had on the watch to begin with is the only thing that's going to stay on the watch the entire time you have it. Thank you, Fitbit, for effing over customers. Anyway. You know, Android Wear is still having issues putting out Android Wear 2.0. Good luck on finding a watch that will be compatible with that. If you bought the LG G Watch or the Gear Live, you are absolutely out of luck. It will not support Android 2. I have the Samsung Gear S3 Frontier. It has Tizen. I've got my issues. I will let you know when this pulls over. So, tell me the smartwatch platform that you would prefer. Watch OS, Tizen, or Android Wear. Pick your poison. Or, if you're not exactly interested in a platform, but you're interested in a smartwatch, retweet the survey and put your quote above it. I will catch it, okay? Or, like I said, shoot me an email. show@techfilesmedia.com. I will talk about this on the air. And we may have a bonus for you this week, folks. We are working about getting our first co-host in studio. So I will let you know on the progress of that. We actually had to get our microphones tuned up first. And it's not as cheap as you think. So, now that we've gotten out of the smartwatch question, HTC Desire 555 is going to be a Cricket exclusive. It should be available by the end of the week if it isn't already. I wasn't able to catch all of the story before I came on the air. However, AndroidCommunity.com has the story. Feel free to catch the link in the show's description, and they will tell you all about that. Personally, I wouldn't touch the HTC. Not the Desire series anyway. Desire series to me and to everybody else that I've known is basically, it's like giving your bride to be a second-hand wedding ring. It's like saying, hey, thank you for marrying me. Meanwhile, I'll go to Kohl's and buy you a $5 wedding ring. Nope. Nope. And nope. Don't do it. I don't care how flashy the sale signs are. I don't care how much they want to wallpaper a stadium in, by the way, Europe, because you're never going to see advertising for HTC in the United States. I'm sorry. I've owned more of your HTC phones than I should have had to say that I've owned. Jeff Gordon, I'm sorry. I know you're listening to this. Urban Estrada, love you to death. But, you know, I bought the HTC. I bought the 10. I bought it for my wife. She dealt with a screen issue, even though it was turned in for an RMA once. She wasn't going to do it again. So we waited until she can get an upgrade, and she got her upgrade. Now she has the G6. I tried to use the M10, but So, I mean, the U11 looks promising. So, if I go back to an HTC, that might be what I look at, is a U11. So, we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Next up, folks, we have a potential massive rival to Blue Apron. Blue Apron is the to-your-door food service that has been very, very popular in recent months. However, with the purchase of Whole Foods by Amazon, their stock has taken a nosedive. And I don't mean a small nosedive. I mean a small nosedive of about 50 to 60%. The main reason being is with Amazon's recent purchase of Whole Foods, Amazon could literally walk in and smash the whole works. So if you have a, to your door food service, I know Schwann's used to do this massively, and I just aged myself when I did it. Sorry. So if you're interested in a food service, before you choose the food service, whether it be Amazon or Blue Apron or anything else, look and see what their menu choices are. Blue Apron only has the best menu choices right now. It's because they've been in this longer, and they still hold somewhat of an edge. I don't know how long they're going to maintain a hold on it for. So, before everybody starts throwing up their arms in the usual panic mode, holy S, Blue Apron's going down. No, it's not. Blue Apron's got a reserve at least to go for a little bit. And I would at least find out if you're really, really, really into the Amazon thing just because it's Amazon, which I don't honestly blame you. A lot of people are, myself included to a certain extent. Give Amazon some time. Let them pull the weeds and find out what they're more or less capable of doing. Because to be quite honest, it could take Amazon up to a year to 18 months to get its bearings straight. So I think if we're deducting the reason that Blue Apron will soon be out of business, don't. The people that have gotten with Blue Apron are with Blue Apron for a reason. It's because that they provide the proper quality and customer service to make sure that the public's taken care of. I don't have any one of these services right now. If anybody's talking about services, send me some information so I can better communicate it to my customers and my listeners. And I'm sure that quite a few of my listeners might want to be interested in learning about that. So let me know, please. Be more than happy to help. Okay, I might have already covered this before. I'm going to hit this one more time. Essential Phone, I just got an update coming across from Android and Me. The launch of the phone. Now we are talking about Rubin's phone, and Andy Rubin's. This article literally came off a couple hours ago. Okay, Essential Phone has missed its shipping goal by the end of June, but the device is coming soon. Chief Operating Officer Niccolo De Masi says the launch is imminent in the United States, which means it's probably already gone through the FCC. The device is said to also be ready for launch in other countries, such as Western Europe, which that's a continent, it's not a country. Someone needs to learn to write a little bit better. Japan is also in the planning stages. There will be carrier models in the UK, allegedly in talks, and I said this before, with EE and others. There's still no release dates, okay? We at least heard from them. We hadn't heard from them for about a week. So they did lose their chief marketing officer, and they lost a vice president of marketing. And I think it was because they couldn't get this phone out the door fast enough and in the proper stages. So that might be why they're gone, is because Andy Rubin has a reputation. The phone's either a go or you're going. So let's see what happens. Let's hold our let's all hold our essential phone horses until the phone's out. And then when it's out, we can all, including me, we can all do our first impressions. We can all do our hands-on review. Hopefully, Essential, I hope you have my press contact that I gave you. I doubt that, but anyway. Who knows? Anything's possible with that. Because the person that we hired to do the media just did an absolute poor job of it. So, it's me. Which is nothing really new. Okay, next up, we go from something essential to something that kind of made me wonder, why are you even putting out this press release? And then I read back and I know why. Several different tech blogs and several different analysts have put the Galaxy S8 as not having outsold the S7 or the S7 Edge. Okay. This is where DJ Co stepped in and says, quote unquote, the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus is 15% above what the Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge were as of this time last year. Now that's tossing in all the BS with Bixby and their inability to speak. And that's also counting the fact that not only with its inability to speak, people that are running the beta are now having its inability to shut up. This beta is a true dumpster fire. I really hope they do a major case of redesign or something before this thing goes, if it's still going live this week. Fix it, Samsung, fix it. You managed to fix anything else, including phones that exploded. No, I wouldn't say fixed it, but you made the situation right, which I'll give you credit, a lot of companies wouldn't have touched. So we'll see what happens on that particular situation. The link to that story is in the article. 95 Google has 95 Google wrote the one about the 15%, and the original article was published by Fandroid. So next up, we're gonna go with an international phone for some of my international listeners. And guys, expect more of this in the future. So just a heads up to you. And then we're really going to take a turn off of smartphone territory for a minute. Okay, so first up, the Meizu Pro 7 has been unveiled as its launch event for July the 26th. Meizu Pro 7, the launch is on the 26th. Has some awesome specs here from what I'm seeing. It looks like it could actually be a good phone. And I say could actually be a good phone because we don't see those in North America half the time. I would love to see the Xiaomi Mi Mix even come over to the United States. And I will hold this one exception. As far as I know, there was only one major tech reviewer that got a hold of the Xiaomi Mi Mix in the United States, and I think that was Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile on YouTube. I would have loved to have gotten a hold of that phone to make sure, if nothing else, all the frequencies were correct that it would line up for. If not, I have software to fix it. However, there's many phones that I would have loved to have looked at. The Umi Hammer. Doggy has a mix now. So Oppo. I would love to get my hands on the old Oppo Find 5 and the Find 7 and the Find 7A. Oh, I love those phones. I think I had my hands on the 7A for about a minute. And the thing I loved about that the most is it was different for the sake simply of being different. That's why I like it. So I'm really convinced that, if you put some international phones over here, if they have bands that will support T-Mobile and AT&T, some of these OEMs that are sitting over here in the States that are just resting on their laurels and they've got their thumb stuck somewhere, if they came over here and actually did some work, and it wouldn't be much, I think it would be awesome for the American public to get a hold of some of your phones. The problem is, right now, you're not getting much exposure, and that's a shame in a way. And sorry about the international rant. Guys, I do have international listeners. Unfortunately, even though that may not be that many of them, most of my listeners are very interested in international products anyway. So we'll go with that. And just a quick heads up on the Pixel XL. The Pixel XL will be produced by LG. Its marketing will be handled by Google. Thank you, God. And you might want to keep that. You know what? I don't care who hears about that one. When LG actually learns how to market, they're going to be one hell of a smartphone company. Unfortunately, though, LG can't market, and they can't stay with the same design language any longer than a year and a half. When they climb those two hurdles, they're going to be one hell of a threat to any OEM. Guys, if you want to make some noise in the smartphone and tech industry, put your product out there. It's going to take you a minimum of 3, not 1, not 2, 3 years to make a difference. LG's actually starting to have some of those phones make differences now, such as the Stylo, Stylo 2, now they have the Stylo 3. Okay? That's a lot. And they sell a lot. iPhone, you're really never going to knock off of their perch. That simple. But speaking of HTC and why HTC has issues right now is because, well, HTC sometimes likes to run their own browser on their phones. And HTC also has its own proprietary keyboard on their phones. And there was a bug in the keyboard that made the browser show banner ads. I've seen this. I hate this. We already own your phone. Some of us paid $763 for the pleasure of owning your phone. Leave your ads off the phone. That's all I'm saying. Leave the ads off the phone. It's not that hard. Okay. End rant. So HTC had let's just say a somewhat of an issue when it came to their keyboard. It should be fixed as of right now, or at least in the process of being fixed. Knock on wood. Let's hope that's going to be the case. All right. And the update earlier on the essential employees that quit, it was a VP of marketing and the head of communication. Well, gee. VP of marketing screwed up because he didn't have the phone ready in 30 days. The head of communication was a complete dope and didn't let anyone know as to why there was a delay on the phone. So, like any other good smartphone company, they're thinning the herd. So, wait and see. So, they did a speed test the other day between T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T. And TMOnews.com has it. And guys, just because I say the website is T-Mo News, if they feel like T-Mo News is in... If they feel like T-Mobile is set to be burned at the stake, they will do it. I've watched them do it. especially when they had this earlier mess last year with T-Mobile One, which was someone's misinterpretation of a law that was quite simply completely legal. So T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint all had speed tests conducted by this company. It's probably Root Metrics. It might be another one. The link to the article is actually in the show's description. T-Mobile One. This was only measuring phones in the 600 megahertz spectrum, by the way. T-Mobile won that by 3 gigabytes a second. What? Stand by on that, folks. Is somebody puffing something when I wrote this? Okay. T-Mobile touts fastest LTE download speeds. I'm pulling the source directly. Okay. It was 3 megabytes per second, not 3 gigabytes per second. People can't read or transcribe. That's nice. Well, looks like I'll have to do that myself too from now on. So anyway, shows T-Mobile's download speeds as 26.9 on the average. It shows Verizon 22.7. It shows AT&T at 23. These are all megabytes per second. We all know what the minimum megabyte requirement is for video, audio, and what have you. The only person that was not eligible in this particular speed competition was Sprint. Why? Because Sprint is still on an archaic CDMA network. Yeah, I'm trying not to get on a rant wagon, so please ignore that one. Okay. So, now that we've talked about the mobile phone side of the technology for a minute, and now that we've gone briefly over the poll on which smartwatch platform you choose, there is a poll. It's on Twitter, at TechFiles or at TechFiles Media. The choices are Apple's watchOS, Samsung's Tizen, or Android Wear. There are 6 days in which to vote. I will announce the winner. It will be available next Tuesday morning. So, let me know. Let me know what you carry. Let me know if it's not the kind of phone that you carry, or not the phone. Jeez, welcome to that world. If it is not the watch that you use, it is not the platform that you like. For example, if you still use Vector, even though it had been Fitbitted, send me an email telling me that. If you are about to get rid of the Pebble and you want advice on what smartwatch to get, send me an email, show@techfilesmedia.com. I'll let you know my opinion. I have no issues with that whatsoever. Once again, like I said, I have a Samsung Gear S3 Frontier. I'm honestly beginning to think it's the worst mistake I ever made. I have a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. I have an iPhone 7 Plus. I tried iOS once back in 2012. I still have the iPhone 5 and iPhone 5's original box. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to put that one on Instagram and Twitter. But the box is still in pristine condition. Unfortunately, the phone isn't. Probably also a reason I didn't like iOS that much is because there's too many in-app purchases, shall we say. But I digress. When I got back with iOS on this go around, iOS is basically making everything possible that's going on right now. I'm using iOS Lost Jock Studio to record everything that I'm putting down for you right now. Whether it's vocals, whether it's the backup track for the music. By the way, glad to know we finally got that music equalized. Whether it's the microphone interface, everything is iOS based, if I choose it to be. And there's also a way that I can run iOS with the PC, all operating off the Blue Yeti. That's another issue. But the Blue Yeti microphone that I have right now will operate through the iPad. It will also operate through my Android smartphone. That's right. I can get it to work with the Galaxy S8 Plus. It's not that hard. If you want me to make a video about it, I will be more than happy to. If you want me to do a live Periscope, I'll be more than happy to. At Tech Files. 9 times out of 10, if you put at Tech Files or Tech Files Media, you're going to run into me. So if you have a request like that, if you want to see that video, if you want to see the video where I can get a Blue Yeti to operate off of a PC and iPad, granted, it looks like Farmer Tom in his janky way. I can do it. I can show you how to do it. And then what I would love to do is someone to show me how they actually did it. So, the whole reason we're getting into the audio thing, I've kind of been into that for a long time as well. I have used the Blue Snowball. I have used a Heil. I've even used the old CAD mics. And Blue Yeti is the go-to for me. The only issue I have with Yetis is, well, it's a couple of different issues. One, it's more or less modulated flat. So unless you're running it through an EQ or you're running it through something that's already prearranged, you have a little bit of an issue with it. Well, I had one and it shorted out. And I kind of deserved to have it shorted out. It was a mess. So I went over because I was actually going to lay the money down and get a Raspberry. Granted, it was like $80 some more expensive, but I was going to get a Raspberry. I wanted the best for you guys. I wanted you guys to get the best quality of everything. So I go over there, and Best Buy does not have the nesting. I go on the website. By the way, this was just to check the website. I couldn't have gotten a hold of a Nessie unless I went to Best Buy. I couldn't have gotten a hold of a Nessie or a Raspberry. I really wanted the Raspberry. The Raspberry was a ton more expensive, and I was willing to get it. I was willing to pay the $179. But the Nessie was not, the Nessie or the Raspberry, sorry. The Raspberry was not available. So I had to re-up on another Blue Yeti. Granted, it's a little inconvenient, only because at this point, the whole mobile thing kind of gets taken away a little bit. I mean, I can always remount it on a mobile mount and be fine with that. However, I think what I'm going to start to do also is I'm going to, if anybody anywhere that's listening to this has anything to do with audio, and when I say audio, I'm talking acoustics, I'm talking headphones, I'm talking microphones, yes, because I'm fully convinced that there's 90% of the microphones on planet Earth suck. Blue, you're not one of them. I just wish that you actually had your microphone available for me. So instead of a Raspberry, I had to get another Yeti. Boo. Anyway, so I have the Blue Yeti. It's a good mic. I have the Blackout Edition right now. It's a very good mic. The problem what I have is you can't go full dynamic range. It's a cardioid condenser microphone. It's got multiple settings for it. I mean, it's got a cardioid setting. It's got the bidirectional setting for interviews, and then it has the stereo setting. I have not set it in stereo. It has not gone off cardioid since the second it was unpacked and turned on. I do wish, however, Blue, that you actually produced the accessories that I could have bought there too, because when the old one went out, for some reason, so did everything in between. When it went out, it shorted every input cable I had. So I had to buy the input cables too. That's why I wanted the Nessie, or the Raspberry, excuse me, because the Raspberry has one port, and it's Lightning port, and it plugs right into whatever iOS or Android phone that you need. Or, because seriously guys, if I didn't have this PC sitting right here, I mean, yeah, I can probably do a plug-in and do a live show with co-host, which that's actually probably how it's going to end up being done before long. But the problem is, you know, you have to get the equipment to be able to do the job correctly. You can't half-whack these things and expect them to work. For example, I had to redesign or redo all the acoustic paneling today. And I'm sure you've probably noticed that, because the bounce is almost at nothing at this point. Okay? So that's done. Yeah, I can't believe I must have eaten one too many barbecue ribs when I did the acoustic paneling for it. But anyway, it's fixed. But no, I just wish that if you're going to put out a product for audio, and if you're going to put out a product that says you produce good audio, one thing that might help is to simply have it available. I have no problems with your product. I just wish the availability was more. So, you know, if anybody thinks that they've got a line, or if anybody's in the company and you need something tested out for actual exposure or something done, show@techfilesmedia.com. We'll talk to you. We'll get everything straight. And I will produce an honest review. I will do it on air live. I have no qualms about doing it. And if your product's good, I will tell the world live, this product is awesome. And I'll even go through channels that I don't normally go through. So, and if you have one that you need to put out, that you need to do a non-disclosure, let me know that too. Is there anything any of you guys would like to have reviewed as far as microphones, as far as headphones? I just went through a set of monitors that were recommended to me. They were very good when I used them, and a week later they're trashed. And it's for nothing. They were not put through any ill use. They were not put through any monstrous use. I mean, those who listen to me on a regular basis know that I go anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour a day, or every other day, depending on how news warrants. So basically, we're getting a run of bad luck usually, and it has to do with audio. I'm just going to say, okay, we're going to start reviewing audio. For example, the Blue Yeti Blackout microphone I have right now is probably the best Blue Yeti, without going so far as to go with the Yeti Studio Pro. This is the best one that I've seen in a long while. And you're talking about the Snowball and the Snowball Ice. Those were good for doing podcasting and voiceovers. The problem is, you had to, in order to be able to put that in its actual context, you had to put them literally on a shock mount, on a stand, and have it acoustically shielded for everything. This one, not so much. The problem I'm getting with this one right now is, well, my want to do is trying to pre-tune going into iOS. I'm not able to do that. I am, however, able to pre-tune going through PC. I may do a podcast later on, tomorrow or Wednesday. I may even do a live one and demonstrate the power of the equalizer on it. But it also defeats the purpose. I need to be mobile. I can't be mobile. Not totally anyway. Mobile's no problem in video because I can shoot a video. I've got two of the best cameras to shoot video on. And I've got the video editing software perfectly. that part's not an issue either. So if anybody knows of any audio products or anything mobile, any audio products, any applications, basically we're looking at applications that handle mobile audio, applications that handle or edit mobile video, applications that handle home products. Yeah, I mean, even though technically it's not mobile to a certain extent, you can access these products while you're mobile. Give me a comment. Send me a review on Apple Podcast. Rate and review my program on Apple Podcast. Rate and review my program anywhere. I get all that information. I will take that feedback. I've appreciated all the feedback I've gotten so far. It's been great. And then, of course, you have trolls. But then again, everyone has trolls. I've never met a person yet in any kind of a media business where they did not have trolls that showed up every once in a while. That's fine. Just if you're going to come out and you're going to play, be prepared, because I'll play back in the same way. And that's where ours all go. But if you have any ideas for mobile media processing, if you have any ideas for mobile video processing, audio processing, I mean, I'll give you another indication. There is a application that I use when I'm not near the PC, if I have time. I used it the other day and put out an intro, which, looking back on it, I was listening to it tonight before I came on the air. It's not the best in the world, but we'll do that. We'll fine tune that. My hat's off to people at Music Creative. My hat's off to the people at Spreaker. I know they want to have people set up jingles and do that. I have a face for radio, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not that great of a person when it comes to doing anything but running my mouth. So if I can do my own drops and I can do my own jingles, that's what I will do. And you will probably notice the quality go from to I don't know. But that's why you're on this journey with me. By the way, we're gonna fade out here because we're done for the evening. I just wanted to let you know a little bit more that we will be going into deeper backgrounds of some more of these technical items. The mobile tech community does not just consist of smartphones, tablets, and wearables. It also consists of Bluetooth headphones, wired headphones. To a certain extent, it also covers gaming headsets, because if you're playing mobile, sometimes you need them done. If anybody wants to contact me about those kinds of opportunities to look at those products, show@techfilesmedia.com. If you need to leave a comment or a review on this program, please do so with Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, TuneIn.com. And of course, none of this help none of this help would be possible without our hosting services at Spreaker, whom I thank deeply for their assistance. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for joining me on this wonderful journey for the night and morning of it's December, guys. Oh, God. Okay. Take two. No, I can't do that on live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for having a listen to me in your ears, in your homes, in your cars, no matter where you may be, on July the 18th, 2017. This will be up and ready by 6 a.m. Central Time, U.S. If you're going based off of UK time, it would be ready probably at high noon by the time you all are going on your lunch. So enjoy. Hope you like it. Oh, and by the way, the thing that I was talking to you about earlier, it's actually, oh, good Lord. Before I say something, I should. Music Radio Creative. That's the other company that wanted to help me set this up. So, thank you. I'm going to, unfortunately, budget constraints. Otherwise, I am going to try to do everything that I can do myself for the moment. However, if you got another idea, let me know, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me into your homes. Thank you for listening to this now hour-long podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful night, morning, day, whatever the time may be. Enjoy your time at work, play, home, or in the case of my brother David, on vacation in Florida. I hate you. All right, guys, have a great day, great night. Stay classy, and we're out.